Hey guys, my name's Cameron, aka the Cocktail Coach, and today we're going to be talking about advanced bartending techniques that you can do at home. So there'll be a little bit of equipment you need, mainly stuff you already have, other than the soda siphon, which you may have to get, but you can get those cheap enough. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can pick one up super cheap off Amazon. There's going to be 3 techniques we're going to be talking about, technically 5, and we're going to showcase them through one single cocktail. So those techniques are pre-batching and preservation. We're also going to be talking about milk punches and clarification, and lastly we're going to be talking about carbonation, hence the soda siphon. And we're going to be showing all them through a cosmopolitan recipe, and we're going to be making a pre-batch milk punch, clarified and carbonated cosmopolitan. Now first things first, you all learn how to make a basic cosmopolitan, so you know the flavour and you know what we're working off. I've already got a video for that, I'll put it somewhere on the screen that you can check it out. And second thing, this is going to be a pretty long-winded video, but there's a lot of detail to get through. So if you check out, I've done a blog post where I include a step-by-step follow along for this recipe, as well as the basic cosmopolitan recipe, and I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. So check out the description for all the resources. If you're unsure on anything on this video, check the description first, see if I've got a resource that answers your question. So let's get into it. Cosmopolitan, as we know it, is 4 ingredients: vodka, Cointreau, lime juice and cranberry juice. So the first thing is the milk punch, which we're going to use for clarification. Now the basics of cocktail clarification, there's 2 main ways to do it. The first one, you can use this, which is agar-agar. It's a white powder similar to gelatin but vegan, and what you do is you mix up a cocktail, heat this up, let it bloom, stick it in with it, the whole thing will start to solidify, and then when you squeeze out that kind of jelly that you've got, you'll get the pure juice but with none of the colour. All that jelly will hold onto the colour. It's a great way of clarifying. I've had big success doing it with lime juice and pineapple juice and grapefruit juice. However, it doesn't add much in terms of flavour other than a slight metallic taste, which you can work in, and it works great on some recipes, not so much this one. The milk punch, however, works great for clarifying. It doesn't tend to clarify as much as the agar-agar, but we've got ways around that, which we're going to do. And the main thing about the milk punch clarification that makes it great is that it adds a texture to it. Now it's not milky, doesn't add a milkiness, but it adds somewhat of a creamy, velvety mouthfeel. But the importance of a milk punch is to have citrus. The basics is you want to add milk, the milk curdles, and all those curdles kind of filter and clarify the drink. If you don't have a high enough citrus level in your cocktail, it won't curdle and it won't clarify, which is why the cosmopolitan works great, because you've got lime juice in there, but with the lime juice and the cranberry it can be hard to clarify. So we swap out the lime juice for citric acid solution. Now citric acid, if you've not heard of, is basically like a citrus salt. It's this white kind of salt looking thing, but it's really sour. It's the same kind of thing they use in sweets, and as well as citrus forward sodas and fizzy drinks. Works perfectly, and it doubles up as a preservative. Adding a little bit of this helps preserve the drink, and it means if you're pre-batching a drink and it's got like a 1 week, 2 week shelf life before it starts to spoil and grow mould, then this helps a lot. If you have a high ABV drink, it's going to help make it last longer, but in something like Cosmopolitan, when it's still not quite high, then something like citric acid is going to take your drink from a 1 week shelf life to a 1, 2 or even 6 month shelf life. And the beauty of it is that once we mix this with water, it tastes exactly like lime juice, but it's completely clear, so it helps clarify. So first thing what we're going to do is we're going to grab our citric acid, and we're going to do this on a hob in a saucepan. We're going to add 120 millilitres of water. To that we'll add 60 grams of white sugar, and then to that we're going to add 12 grams of the citric acid. And what's that going to do? Once we stir it, dissolve that citric acid, dissolve that sugar, I'm going to get a clear liquid that's both sweet and sour, It's going to have the taste of lime juice, but it's going to add some sweetness there, which is also important for these pre-batch drinks. And then after that, you should have this. This is our clear citric acid and sugar solution. And now we've got this, we can move on to our milk punch. So grab yourself a jug or a bowl or something that you can mix this drink in. So I'm just going to grab that stuff now, getting ready for my milk punch. There we go, look at that. So I've got the bowl, which I'm going to mix the cocktail in. I've got a bottle, which afterwards I'm going to strain it into funnel, fine strainer, and to get it extra clear, we've also got some coffee filters. So here's what we're going to do first. We're going to take that citric and sugar solution. I'm going to add 120 millilitres into our bowl. We're making a punch that's going to be able to serve 8 cocktails. So everything that we'll normally get from one cocktail, we're going to times that by 8. And already, we're starting off well because already it's clear. So we're doing well. Next up, we're going to grab some vodka. Any vodka will do. I'm going to add 320 millilitres of our vodka. Then we've got our Cointreau. We're going to add a little bit less Cointreau. We're going to add 200 millilitres of Cointreau. Then we have our cranberry juice. We're going to add the same amount of cranberry juice as we did with our citric acid and sugar solution. So 120 millilitres of cranberry juice is going in. And there we go, and that adds the colour. That is what we're trying to clarify with the milk punch. If you drink it now in a cocktail like Cosmopolitan, it's light, it's airy, but it's kind of somewhat dense in mouthfeel. Once we milk wash all of this, it's going to have such a creamy, oily flavour. So the way we do this is we're going to grab 120 millilitres of whole milk. Now I've got some here, and then what you want to do is you want to heat that milk up a bit just in the microwave, 10-15 seconds. Doesn't have to be boiling, just lukewarm. Just as long as this milk is a different temperature, then this mix is going to help it curdle even more. So dump that in, and as you'll see, that has now got all these little milk curdles in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick this in the fridge for about 1 to 2 hours and let those curdles sit in the mix, which is going to help that clarify. Once your mix has been sitting in the fridge for about an hour, perhaps have a bottle, a funnel. We're going to add a coffee filter. Stick the coffee filter in, and then on top of that we're going to add a fine strainer and stick that there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to dump all this into here, let it filter through. Don't push the filter. It's going to drip through that coffee filter really slow, but that's what we want. That coffee filter is going to take up all those milk curdles, which is going to hold the colour, and what we should get is a lot of a clearer liquid. So we're going to pour this in. Okay, so I let that fine strain through. It was really cloudy at the end, so I dumped it back into another jug and I re-strained it through again. The first strain took about an hour, second strain took about 40 minutes, and then just to get it extra clear, I went through a third time, and on the third time I did 2 coffee filters. That one only took about 30 minutes, even though there was double the amount of coffee filters that I had to get through. But what we're left with is this. Now, it's not perfectly clear, as you can see, but it's a hell of a lot clearer than that red what we had first. So we can move on. Now, as it is, makes a beautiful drink. It's a clarified, cosmopolitan. Pour that over a glass of ice. Works perfectly, tastes perfectly, and what's more important is because of the citric acid and the whey from the milk which clarified through will help preserve that. So this will last up to way past a year now, with the milk whey in there and the citric acid and the alcohol and the sugar. That's going to preserve itself. We've pre-batched our cocktail, we've milk washed it, that's ready to go. If you want to know more about milk punch and milk clarification, as always, resource is in the description of a post I've done on that, which is a lot more in depth. But now we're going to move on to carbonation, because we want to carbonate this drink, and this is when you'll need your soda siphon. So grab a soda siphon like this, not a cream whipper one, link in the description, you know where to go for it. I'm going to take the lid off. get is you put this in here, take that out. Once again, grab yourself your funnel, and we're going to strain all of this into this. Once you're done, we're just going to stick that back together. Make sure it's on tight. Like so, unscrew the back. And then you're going to need some CO2 cartridges like these. This is what they look like. Basically, you shove that in there, and then when you screw it on top of there, it forces the CO2 into the drink, shake it up, leave it in there. Alright, so my camera just cut off, and I didn't notice until I finished the drink and had it here. But basically, where I was at is you stick the CO2 in, turn it, it'll force it in there, give it a shake, take it off, put another one in there so you're charging it twice, give it another shake, and then shove that in the fridge for about an hour, let it cool. You don't want to squirt it out straight away, you want to give it time to really settle in. Then you grab yourself a glass, fill it with clear ice, and then it's as simple as just pushing that and it comes out. It's carbonated, and that's it really. There we go. We have a cosmopolitan, but it's completely clear. It tastes like cranberry still and orange. It's clear, it's milk wash, it's got beautiful velvety mouthfeel, and it's also carbonated. It's beautiful. There's technically 5 techniques we've just learned: pre-batching, preservation, clarification, milk washing and carbonation, all in one cocktail. And like I said, I've got all the resources in the description, so check them out. My name's Cameron, aka the Cocktail Coach. Enjoy.